Yo, what is going on, guys? I am back from the trenches of the deep, dark, forsaken nothing. I'm making a video about something that I feel like a lot of people should know, but don't for some odd reason. Do your research, kids. You don't want to get raped by Champ. So, today we're going to be talking about cars, what to look for, where to look, pricing, financing, all the basic stuff. Because Gene wanted me to make this video, and it's something I know a good amount about. Ashley also wanted me to make this video, but fuck Ashley. But so it's something that I feel I'm very well, how do I say this? Very well knowledgeable on. I know what the above average person knows for my age, which is really good, because cars are something that we use every day. We use them to get around. It's basic stuff we need to basically live and even go to our jobs. Right now, if we didn't have cars, I don't know how society would act. So cars are a big part of how the days are and how we evolve in a way. Tesla, Uber, cars are big is what I'm saying. So I'm going to start off with what to look for. Stuff you should look for in a car, obviously, is I like to name the 5 things that are most important: mileage, year, accidents, features, and prices. Those are the 5 things you got to pay close attention to. All the other stuff does not matter, and it's either a plus or a minus. So, of course, mileage. There's new cars that have no miles on them, and there's used cars that have around 20 to, I would say, 100,000 miles on them, give or take, more or less. So when buying a car, it depends on your situation. So I'm going to use the situations for this video for a first car. So obviously, the cars in this video are not going to be expensive. I'm going to be looking at stuff that's not really new or like expensive in a way, like a $30,000 Subaru. So really, it's for the people who have a small understanding and kind of a small budget, because basically most people have a small budget unless you're rich. So mileage, my price range is, let's say, $10,000. So the mileage that you're gonna have to fall into for a $10,000 car, that's of course good, is I would say 60 to 100. You don't want to go above 100. And you could go below 60 if you get lucky, but chances are you're not. Cars over 60,000 miles, obviously aren't used a lot, but they are used. And cars over 100,000 miles or so, they're used a lot. So you never really know what you're getting yourself into. But I would say 60 to 100 is the good range to have that car for a while, and you could trust that it's gonna last. So obviously, mileage goes with the year of the car. If you have a 2009 and it has 60,000 miles, that's a really good car, because it's been around for 11 years and only has 60,000 miles on it, which means it wasn't driven as much as, let's say, a 2018 with 90,000 miles, which proves that in the 2 years that this car was made, it was driven 90,000 miles, which is a lot of wear on the car. So obviously, low mileage overall is better. So you always want to go for the low mileage, and this, of course, is the hand in hand with the price going up. So next thing I want to talk about is the year of the car. So obviously, with insurances now, they like safety features, and a lot of the cars in this $10,000 price range are old. I find a lot of 2005s to 2011s. They're good cars, good mileage, but they don't have the safety features. They don't have Bluetooth. They don't have a lot of stuff that these 2018 cars have. You could still find 2018 cars for low prices, but chances are they have a problem with them, or there's a reason that they're that low of a price. So obviously the year can go hand in hand, but for the $10,000 price range, I would say you want to fall in between nothing above 2017, but nothing below 2009, because 2009 is when Bluetooth technology and navigation systems and GPSs were announced, and that's kind of the pinnacle of where cars started to get useful. So if you kind of fall below that, you're not really going to get anything but a car with a radio. That's not bad, but if you want the GPS and the navigation and all the luxuries that come, you're going to want to go for a 2009 plus. If you could find a 2020, go for it. It all matters up to you and your price range. So the third thing is accidents. Accidents are really important because if you have a car that is a 2020 and you see it for $9,000, you're like, what the hell is this? This car is so new and it's so cheap. It's because it had an accident on it. If you see a nice car for a cheap price, chances are there's an accident on that car. So you have to look into it. When you're looking for a car, please look into it. Don't just try to look at the price, look at the car, see if it looks good and if it looks nice or if it fits you or whatever, and then you buy it. You got to look into the car and actually see the history of the car. A lot of cars, when you're looking for them, give you VIN numbers. I'll get to that a little bit later, but VIN numbers, you always got to look for the VIN number, search it up on Carfax, and it'll tell you every report year by year of what this car's been through and the accident. So why accidents are bad? Accidents are bad because they damage the car, they damage the chassis, the engine isn't as reliable as a newly built engine that has not been wrecked. So accidents are bad because, for instance, you could buy a 2018 Jetta. You saw it for $9,000. It had an accident. It flipped over, let's say, and you bought it because you saw it was a cheap price. Chances are you get that Jetta, after a couple years, it's going to start acting up. You're going to have issues with the tires. You're going to have issues with the brakes. You're going to have issues with the pistons. Anything can fail. All right, because this car has been through a lot, and really after accidents, cars aren't as good as they should be, or they shouldn't even be resellable, because it's like the level of damage that goes into a crash with the engine, because it's so fragile, it's just not worth the financial loss in the long run. So really, that's why I say look for a car with no accidents. Yes, they're hard to find, but they are out there. And chances are, if you see a nice car with an accident, just don't bother getting it. It's going to be a financial loss. Some people get lucky, but most of the times it's just a one-way road where the car breaks down a little bit after. Fourth thing on the list, features. Obviously, this is opinion based, but like I was saying about the year of the cars, 2009 to 2017 is where the GPS, Bluetooth, and all of the new features came in. But features to look for are obviously, I would say, side mirror sensors. And what side mirror sensors do is when a car is in your blind spot, it shows a little symbol that lights up to let you know. And this is so helpful when driving on the road, because a lot of people just like to trail you in your blind spot, and when you want to switch lanes you don't know, and that's how accidents are caused. But side mirror sensors aren't an old thing, they're new, like 2016 plus. So obviously features like that you want to look for. I would say all safety features with sensors, backup cameras, braking sensors, I would say cruise control, all the luxury features, you would want as many of those as you can. Obviously it raises the price of the car, but you could still find something. Believe me, they're out there. I find them all the time. It's just a matter of looking hard enough and finding these websites to look for, which is what I'm going to get at after. The last thing I want to talk about is prices. So obviously you're in a $10,000 budget, so I would say I'll try to gauge it. So $20,000, you could find a nice car. Definitely you could find a nice 2018 low mileage. You could find any car you really want for $20,000. Really there's no limitation on it. You could get a 2020 for $20,000. It just depends on what car and how much the dealers are selling it for. But if you fall into the 15, you don't have as many options, and you may be limited to not as high of a year as 2020, 2019, or 2018. But you could definitely still find cars that are worth buying and worth keeping for over 5 years. $10,000 is the price range I'm kind of dealing with right now, and I'm finding a lot of choices that are actually really good, but it just comes down to personal preference and finding accidents and mileage that you are okay with. I find a lot of cars in my price range of $10,000 with 70,000 miles, and it's going to be a risk I'm going to have to take because I don't have as much money as other people would in that situation. So obviously saving your money and making the highest amount possible you could spend on a car would obviously benefit you in the long run if you're willing to make that purchase. A car is an investment, so obviously you want to have it for a long time. You don't want to buy a car every year because they're expensive. So the second thing I want to talk about is where to look. So there's a lot of car websites out there that are not, they're just total scams. I'm going to be honest. They're not good. Don't trust them. There's only 2 I would say you could trust, really. I know there's more out there, but I haven't looked and dug into these websites deep enough to even tell somebody to trust them. So I only have 2 here, which is CarMax and Carfax. The reason why I would only look on these 2 websites, I know it limits your choices a lot, because secondhand dealerships is where you find, golden deals. If you're into JDM cars, you could find a lot of nice cars secondhand, but it's a risk. So if you don't want to take that risk, I say the 2 best websites you can use is CarMax and Carfax, only because they give you the exact report of the car up to date. If you go on Carfax, every car that you look at that you might want to buy, it gives you the reports, it gives you the accident reports, it gives you the year by year mileage and service history. It gives you everything the car's been through. Same with CarMax. It's the same thing. And they limit the cars on these 2 websites to only good cars. To simply put it, they don't put anything that they know is a scam. These cars that you find on the website they're all good. They're all amazingly kept. They're all good mileage, and they're all amazing cars. Of course, the price is not always going to be what you want it to be, but these websites hold the good cars in your area for a decent value. They're not totally dragging your wallet down, but if you want a good car, go to a good website is what I'm saying. Another thing why these websites are really good is because they give you VIN numbers. VIN numbers are what you can use to go to Carfax again and search up the history. CarMax does not have the feature where you can look it up. That's why you take the VIN number from CarMax and you would go to Carfax. You get the VIN number to see what the car's been through. This is important because if you are looking at a car, you want to know what it's been through. Because let's say I find a 2017 Jetta and I don't know what it's been through. I want to look at Carfax to see what the owners put it through in 2015, 2016, even all the way down to 2010. All the oil changes to see if they kept up with the car. Because sometimes you'll find a car that's good, no accidents, it looks good on paper. But when you find that report, these people never changed the oil, they never took care of the car, it has the same tires since they bought it off the dealership, and that's just something you don't want to deal with. So obviously, last thing I want to say, I know I'm really going really fast, but I don't know, this is something I just know of, so I could just ramble on. But prices and financing, interest and interest rates, credit, this is what I'm going to get into. I'm going to try to make it very simple. If you do not have credit, you cannot buy a car. I will repeat. If you do not have credit, you cannot buy a car. If you don't have a good credit score, what the dealership or wherever you're buying it is they will flat out give you a 30% interest rate. And let's say your car payment is $250. All right. What they will do is be like, oh, you don't have enough credit history, so we're going to make that payment instead of $250, $450. And if you miss one payment, it's going to be $550. And they're just going to keep nailing you and nailing you and nailing you because you don't have good credit history. That's why I say credit cards are scary, but they're good. And they're good in the long run. So build credit as fast as you can. You can't have a credit card till you're 18. So as soon as you turn 18, build credit. I'm 18 and my credit score is already good, which is a 640 to the 660s, which is really good. Build credit. I can't emphasize that as much as I want to, but credit is the most important thing with buying a car. You cannot buy a car without credit. Now, if you're in the lucky situation of where your parents are helping you, yes, that's okay. But also you take this into consideration. You are not going to be on their insurance forever. you have till 26, and then you have to get off of their insurance. You can only be on your parents' insurance till 26. So when 26 comes around and you got no credit, you're fucked financially, totally. So build credit, even if your parents pay for the car or they bought it for you. Build credit as much as you can for the long run. It'll help you in your life, believe me. So also financing, down payments. So a good way to buy a car is to obviously, it's kind of like a house, but not really. I would say more than 20% of the car you want to have a down payment for. So let's say my car is $10,000 flat. I want to put more than $2,000 as a down payment. Don't do less, because let's say you buy a car for $10,000 and you put a $500 down payment. Your monthly payments are going to be $350, $450. But if you put a $2,000 down payment, your car payment will be $200, $180. The higher your down payment, the lower your monthly payment is, which helps you because you also have to juggle insurance, and really it just adds up. So you want to put the biggest down payment, without draining your bank account of course, as you can. So down payments are important. So to wrap it all up, you want a car with a certain amount of mileage depending on the year, nothing above 100. You want to find a good year with the good features that you want, nothing below 2009. No accidents. Accidents are a negative. Also, find the features you want. Safety features are really helpful. The price of the car, it depends on you and your wallet, basically. I wouldn't drain your bank account for a car though, because it's not worth it unless you know you're going to have this thing for 30 plus years. Where to look? CarMax, Carfax. Only two places I trust, only two places you should trust. Remember, they give you the VIN numbers. VIN numbers are the most important thing. Third, prices. Down payment above 20% of the car. You want to have a good down payment, and also build credit. I felt like I just went on a total spree there. I don't know how I'm going to edit this video. This video, was oddly specific. But, I had fun making this video. It's something I know a lot of. So I hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys later. Bye.
You are watching a master.